What's up, guys? Brian back to do a Walking Dead video about how The Walking Dead will end. It's a theory, predictions, thoughts, discussion. Just really want to talk about how the show will end, because I'm sure the show will end first before the comic book. They plan to probably make the comic book for a long time. So the show coming up on the 7th season, probably one of so many more we got. But this is a dream sequence thing that someone put up there. So I dreamed the whole thing. None of it was real. You were talking in your sleep about zombies. It was crazy. Rick, who is Andrea? So that's just a reference to the comic book. Lori, Shane, Carl, and Rick there. And Lori says, who is Andrea? Because of the Andrea in the comic book that happened there too. Robert Kirkman stated that this will not happen, and I don't think it will happen, but you never know. It would probably be a cop-out way to go. But article, undeadwalking.com got an article about Robert Kirkman talking about something at Comic-Con. I put this in another video. I broke it about a couple days ago, but I just want to come back to it. So according to Robert Kirkman at San Diego Comic-Con 2016, one theory for the end of the comic book series was the end when Rick and the gang reached Alexandria and joined the large community there. The end has changed, he said. There was one version that would have had an ending soon as everyone reached Alexandria. For many fans, this would have been a pretty happy ending. They'd be joining an established community where they could live and thrive, surviving everything the world had to throw at them. At this point, of course, this also means the comic book would have ended in issue 69 and released January 27th, 2010. So wow, that was over 6 years ago. So of course the show didn't end that way, but you think about it, that would have been a nice way to end. They finally find a sanctuary, they find a thing, and that's the way stuff happens in movies sometimes too. You know, I Am Legend, a couple other movies that would have happened where they end up to a sanctuary and all is then, and you don't know what happens to them. But that's not the case here. So Alexandria is a community there too, but do you think that would have been a good way of happening on the show for them to just define Alexandria? And then it ends and we never meet certain characters like Negan and Ezekiel and Shiva and everything there too. So, but Alexandria is an awesome place in Sonoya. If you haven't seen it, check it out on there. Get down to Georgia there too. But Carl looking over at the Alexandria place that they didn't know existed because they were living in that harsh world, to go from Georgia, Atlanta, the prison, on the road, scavenging around to find a place like that too. It would have been pretty awesome to find. But I'm glad they didn't, of course, because they would have ran out of ideas and ran out of things to stop the show. But then they go on with Negan and the Whisperers and Ezekiel and the Kingdom and the Hilltop and everything, and it's great. And they have all these other characters that you never knew existed if they stopped, of course. But how do you think it will end? I don't know. I have some theories at the end, but I'll talk about that, so wait for that. But post your comments below, guys. Like, share, subscribe, post your comments below. But Alexandria is a great community. I'm glad it's a big part of it, but we never would have met the Saviors and Negan and the Hilltop and everything if we didn't do those, if we didn't have that going forward. But ultimately, what's going to be the end game on the show? I think they're going to end it probably around the Whisperers thing around that, but I don't know because the comic book is doing the Whisperer War. So can you imagine just the way it ends? Rick Grimes being the leader of Alexandria, and then that's it. The show fades away into oblivion. You're kind of wondering what happens. Are they gonna have a cure? Are they gonna find things? Are they just gonna kill all the zombies and then that's what happens? Are they gonna have the military come in, scientists come in, the world epidemic? Who of these people are gonna survive at the end is the other aspect I want to talk about. How many people here, are left on the show, and you have Jesus and the newcomers on there too. But you think, so the rumor is, and the predictions and the theories are that Abraham and Glenn die, gonna be gone. Then, Tara could probably go, Rosita probably goes. Which of the Atlanta 5 go? I think that eventually Carol's gonna die in season 7. Glenn's gonna die this season, of course, too. So that leaves Carl, Rick, and Daryl. Carol now too, but eventually they're going to go. But I could see Daryl outliving them all. There's a great point by one of our fans and on there too that Beth and says that you're going to be the last man standing down there too. Eugene, he could be around for a long time as well. He's still alive in the comics and on the show, and he brought them to the area of Washington, D.C. for the most populated area too. So eventually I think they got to get to Washington, D.C. and the government, or something has to happen. Another CDC type of thing, where they have to figure out a cure or warfare to help kill the zombies and something to go into the supply of the zombies and get rid of them easier. Because, Eugene's a smart guy with the bullet factory on there as well, but this is kind of like smaller global things than the rest of the world. Because Abraham was all about protecting Eugene and taking him there. But the military, as we saw, failed in that. But I think there's got to be some part of the military, some part of the Pentagon or the White House or something in there in the government some FBI, CIA, something, the military, some form of the military has to be still going strong. It's got to be some boat, some Navy thing or whatever. Do they get on a boat? Do they get onto a battleship? Do they get on something there? I don't know what happens, but I think the military's got to come in, and take over and eventually help them with something. I don't know if that's the way the show's going to be. That is kind of the cop-out way that, a bigger group organization takes over from these guys. But, that would be really cool if they eventually get to the White House and it's empty and they take over the White House. Rick and the group takes over that, or part of a big old mansion or something there as well. But I don't know. I see the military coming in as a way that could possibly happen there too. With, do you think Negan outlives Rick? Do you think Rick outlives Negan? Do you think Daryl's the last man standing? Carl? Who knows, But hopefully it's not a dream sequence. I don't think it will be. Robert Kirkman said that it won't be on there, but there's just so many factors. When's the show going to end? How's it going to end? Abruptly, quickly? On the 12th season, 15th season? Who knows? Because we're going into season 7. So, like, share, subscribe, post your comments below, guys. What do you think? And how do you think The Walking Dead will end?